It usually doesn't start with a big loss. Gambling often begins with small bets that feel harmless, but slowly the bank balance stops feeling like safety and starts feeling like something to risk. Money meant for bills or stability gets treated as a chance to recover losses. As this pattern repeats, financial pressure builds quietly. Stress increases, conversations about money become tense, and relationships start feeling the impact. What looks like a few small bets slowly turns into unstable finances and growing problems at home. Number 10. Many people start gambling believing they are only risking extra money, not realizing that the definition of extra slowly keeps expanding. At first, it may be a small leftover amount. Then it becomes part of the next paycheck. Later, it quietly includes money meant for essentials. This shift happens gradually, so it rarely feels like a big decision. Because of this, the bank balance starts losing its clear boundaries. Money that once had a purpose begins to feel flexible. Even when losses happen, the thought of recovering them makes using more money seem reasonable. Over time, this mindset weakens financial discipline without the person noticing it immediately. As boundaries blur, stress increases, expenses start competing with each other, and small shortages appear. These shortages create tension at home, especially when plans depend on predictable spending. What began as using extra money slowly turns into constant financial strain, affecting both finances and relationships. Number 9. Losses in gambling often don't hurt immediately, which makes them more dangerous. When a small amount is lost, daily life still continues normally. Bills may still get paid, and nothing feels urgent. This delay creates the illusion that the impact is minor, but repeated losses quietly reduce the cushion in the bank balance. After some time, this reduced cushion starts showing up in small ways. Maybe an expense has to be postponed, or savings stop growing. These small adjustments increase pressure without being obvious. The person may not connect the stress directly to gambling, but the financial flexibility is already shrinking. As flexibility disappears, even normal expenses begin to create tension. This tension often spills into relationships, especially when money decisions need to be shared. What seemed like harmless small losses slowly turns into constant pressure, affecting both the bank balance and peace at home. Number 8. Gambling slowly makes people comfortable with taking financial risks. In the beginning, risking money feels unusual and slightly uncomfortable, but after a few bets, that discomfort reduces. Losing once and trying again starts to feel normal. Over time, this repeated behavior changes how decisions are made. Risk stops feeling like an exception and becomes part of routine thinking. When risk becomes normal, the bank balance is treated less carefully. Instead of protecting it, people begin testing it. Even when losses happen, the mind focuses more on the possibility of winning than the need for stability. This shift makes careful financial decisions harder to maintain. As this pattern continues, unpredictability increases. Money that should remain steady starts fluctuating, and this creates stress in daily life. Loved ones may notice that financial decisions feel less stable. Gradually, normalizing risk through gambling weakens both financial security and the sense of reliability in relationships. Number 7. Gambling often creates the habit of chasing losses. When money is lost, the natural reaction is to try and win it back quickly. It feels logical in the moment, like fixing a mistake immediately, but this urgency usually leads to more impulsive bets. Instead of stopping, the person keeps trying until the pressure increases. This chasing behavior puts extra strain on the bank balance. Money that was not meant for gambling gets pulled in just to recover what was already lost. Each attempt feels temporary, but repeated tries quietly reduce financial stability. Over time, the focus shifts from managing money to recovering losses. This pressure also affects behavior at home. Frustration builds, patience decreases, and small discussions about money become tense. Loved ones may not see the bets, but they feel the stress. Chasing losses slowly turns gambling into a cycle that impacts both finances and relationships. Number 6. Gambling slowly changes how people think about quick money. Instead of seeing income as something that comes from work or planning, the mind starts looking for sudden wins. This makes the bank balance feel temporary, like it can be increased any time with the right bet. Because of this belief, careful spending starts to feel less urgent. When money is viewed this way, small financial decisions become riskier. A person may ignore saving or delay payments, thinking losses can be covered later. But when the expected win does not happen, the gap becomes visible. The bank balance drops and pressure increases. This repeated expectation of quick recovery also creates tension at home. Plans based on stable income begin to feel uncertain. Loved ones may notice that financial decisions rely more on hope than certainty. Over time, chasing quick money through gambling weakens both financial discipline and trust in relationships. Number 5. Gambling often starts taking money that was never meant for it. In the beginning, people use small leftover amounts, but after a few losses, the thinking changes. It starts to feel okay to use a little from the next expense just to try once more. The idea is simple: win it back and put it back, but most of the time that doesn't happen. Slowly, this habit creates small gaps. Maybe groceries get delayed, maybe a bill is pushed to next week. Nothing looks serious on its own, but the pressure builds quietly. The bank balance starts feeling tighter even though income hasn't changed. At home, these small adjustments are noticeable. Plans get postponed, spending becomes cautious, and conversations around money feel uncomfortable. No one may mention gambling directly, but the tension grows. What began as just one more try slowly turns into constant financial strain. Number 4, gambling often brings unpredictability into everyday spending. One day, money is managed carefully, and the next day, a large amount disappears in a short time. This sudden change makes it difficult to keep normal financial routines. Even with the same income, the bank balance starts behaving differently. Because of this, planning becomes harder. You may think there is enough for the week, but one impulsive bet changes everything. Then small adjustments begin: cutting back on something, delaying a payment, or borrowing temporarily. These changes create stress because nothing feels certain anymore. This unpredictability is also felt at home. When money patterns keep changing, it becomes difficult to rely on plans. Simple decisions like shopping or paying bills start involving tension. Over time, gambling doesn't just reduce money, it removes the sense of consistency that relationships depend on. Number 3, gambling slowly changes how important responsibilities are handled. At first, everything stays on track. Bills are paid, expenses are managed, and gambling happens on the side. But after a few losses, priorities begin to shift without much notice. The thought of recovering money starts competing with regular responsibilities. Because of this, some payments get delayed or pushed slightly. It may not feel serious in the beginning, just a temporary adjustment, but when this repeats, the bank balance stays under pressure. Instead of feeling organized, finances start feeling messy and reactive. At home, this change becomes visible. When responsibilities are not handled on time, frustration builds. Small delays create unnecessary discussions, and trust begins to weaken. Over time, gambling quietly moves ahead of priorities, and both financial stability and relationships start feeling the impact. Number 2, gambling often brings a constant mental distraction about money. Even when you are not betting, part of the mind keeps thinking about the last loss or the next chance to win. This makes it harder to stay focused on normal financial decisions. You may ignore small expenses, forget planning, or act impulsively just to ease that pressure. Because of this distraction, the bank balance is not managed with full attention. Money comes in and goes out without clear structure. Small mistakes start happening more often, like overspending or missing something important. These small slips slowly reduce stability. This mental pressure also affects relationships. When someone is constantly thinking about losses or recovery, they seem distant. Conversations become shorter, patience reduces, and tension builds quietly. Over time, gambling doesn't just reduce money, it takes away focus, and that lack of focus affects both finances and peace at home. In the end, gambling doesn't just reduce the bank balance, it removes the sense of control over money. When control is there, even a small amount feels manageable. You know what is coming in and what needs to go out. But when gambling becomes frequent, that clarity disappears. Some days feel fine and other days suddenly feel tight without warning. This loss of control creates constant pressure. You start double-checking your balance, worrying about upcoming expenses, and feeling unsure about simple plans. Even normal spending begins to feel risky. The stress is not always loud, but it stays in the background. At home, this uncertainty is felt by everyone. When money no longer feels predictable, discussions become sensitive, small decisions take longer, and confidence in planning reduces. Over time, gambling quietly replaces stability with doubt, affecting both financial security and relationships. Bonus tip: notice how gambling slowly changes the atmosphere at home. It's not always about big fights or obvious problems. Sometimes it shows up as small things: hesitation before spending, avoiding money discussions, or feeling tense during normal planning. These changes happen because finances no longer feel steady. When the bank balance is unpredictable, even simple decisions carry pressure. This pressure affects tone, patience, and communication. People may not talk openly, but they feel the strain. Over time, this silent tension creates distance. Recognizing these small changes early is important. When stability returns, conversations become easier and stress reduces naturally. Protecting the bank balance is not just about saving money, it also protects peace at home and keeps relationships from carrying unnecessary pressure. If gambling has started affecting your bank balance, the most helpful step is not trying to fix everything at once. Instead, pause and look at one small pattern, maybe chasing losses, maybe using money meant for something else, or maybe the stress it's creating at home. When one pattern becomes clear, it becomes easier to break the cycle. Stability usually returns through small changes, not dramatic ones. Protecting a portion of your money, slowing down decisions, or simply creating distance from betting for a while can gradually reduce pressure. As the bank balance becomes more predictable, stress at home also starts reducing. Over time, consistent control matters more than quick recovery. When money decisions become calmer, relationships feel safer, and daily life becomes less tense. Protecting your bank balance is not only about saving money, but about keeping stability, trust, and peace in everyday life.